I'll open us up with a Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day. To his holy prophet, Drew Ali, Amin, Islam. First, all rise, give them perfect and infinite praises to Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Honors to the Jesus return, the last and final prophet, 5 times stronger, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. Last prophet, Noble Jawali. Honors to the forerunner of the prophet, the John the Baptist return, Brother Marcus Messiah Garvey Bay, representing the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, in 1914. Honors to the Moorish Science of America press and present and future leaders and everything that is Moorish, all Halbridgers, fathers and mothers who paved the way for sons and daughters to be leaders and hold stations in the Moorish Science of America, Islam. Today's show is self versus self. Whether you want to know it or not, your true self is your higher self. Your higher self is the mother of the virtues and harmonies of life that breeds love, mercy, justice, and right. And your lower self will breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. When people tend to struggle in making decisions and rightful thinking, you tend to lose sight of who you are and your true destiny. Once you lose sight of your nationality and divine creed and the religion of your forefathers, you may be lost in a game of chess, but you're not lost yet. Because the memories of your ancient forefathers, you are who you were without doubt or contradiction. And this is what uplifts the self-esteem and state of mind of the better version of you. Whether you want to be recognized as a Negro, black or colored, Afro-American, African-American, so-called Latino, Chicano, Hispanic, Guam, and Puerto Rican, and these are the only people who don't have nationality, tell me I'm wrong. Tell your brother man Morris that I'm wrong, that I'm speaking the way I'm speaking right now, because it's obvious that someone has to tell the truth sometime. And sometimes we cannot be debunked based upon lies and deceit, based upon what we're told by the teachers who represent the modern day slaveholder. When we start being articulate in what we think and we start saying, okay, is there a such thing as a black people, a color, a Negro, Afro-American, African-American? Where do these people come from and who gave these people these titles? So it's obvious that the only people on the face of this earthland who suffer slavery more than anybody is the so-called Negro, blacks, and coloreds. Okay, so the Chinese man got his nationality. The Asians of Korea, North and South, and China, Japan, etc., they have their nationality. The people of Panama, so-called Costa Rica, got their nationality. And Brazilian, Chilean, Nicaraguans, and Argentinians got their nationality. Where's mine at? How come my people are the only people that don't have nationality? Maybe because we accepted the European slaveholders' teachings and were brainwashed and sodomized and lynched and done wrong, where we had to accept these teachings. So, aha, now I understand. So, if we were called black or Moor, let me look up this word Moor. I heard it as Moor. I've heard of Othello being a Moor, but I'm gonna look this word up. I'm gonna see what this says. Oh, Moor. Okay, someone who was descendant of Moroccan. Okay, okay, I see that. So, who were the people who civilized Europe? Oh, the Moors. Okay. Oh, they invented this. They done that. They brought the soaps. They brought the water. They brought clothes. They brought all these things. And I understand who these people are, but I don't have enough history. But I must have a connection with them. So if I can't be Negro, and Negro's not a nationality, and colored is another one that they keep changing the name because we don't like it. Black, no, that can't be us because black is a crayon. Afro-American, Afro is a hairstyle. How is that possible? African-American, I can't be born in two continents. So now I'm missing something. What is this I'm missing? You question yourself. Well, if I can't be this, then I gotta have a nationality just like everybody else does. Minus the people of Guam and Puerto Rico, but the people of Guam and Puerto Rico have gotta be of Moorish descendant because the Moors are known for civilizing nations and traveling all over the world. So I gotta be part of that bloodline. Can't be nothing else. So there's no further history prior to being called Negro, colored, and black before slavery or prior to. So now, if this last crusades happened in 1492, then I gotta be connected with them. So what am I missing? Well, maybe my ancestors lost their state of mind, and we were called. They put us on the auction block. They were calling us a nigga and nigger. So the first dictionary that came out was the 1800s, so to speak, and these are the words Negro, colored, and black. And now we calling them white, but I can't identify where the white nation is, nor I can identify where the Negro, colored, or black, or Afro-American, African-American nation is. YN and nigga this and nigger that. So since that's the case, then how can I identify what these names or why these names keep changing? So which one are these so-called nations related to me? Well, ethnicity, Christian black codes, okay, I understand that. So now I understand the Nicaea Council. Now I'm getting somewhere. So this is me just dialoguing, family, of studying who we are as so-called Negro, blacks, and colors. Because then, see, we have to start thinking. And the slave, you can hide anything in a book, but a slave will not read. Jeffrey Dahmer. No. I don't owe you any money. If anything, you need to get off my chat. So, it's obvious that people who call themselves white are people who are the Europeans who came on this boat who did not have a job. Nor there's no white nation to begin with. So obviously they call themselves white and they calling us less than. So when we understand the conditions and how words play a role in people's state of mind where it uplifts and it degrades, it causes slander and defamation of character, then we can understand where we stand as a group of people. I've met people from different parts of the world who are pale skinned and they're not really European. Now, I don't know how deaf and dumb and blind these Hebrew Israelites are, but every time they see a pale face, they go crazy. And anytime they see a pale face walking around with an olive hue melanated brother or sister or something like that, they got something sarcastic to say. And this, to me, that's evil. Do you know how many pale skin faces are all over the world who are not really having a connection to Europe? It's a few. And this is where information becomes a problem, because now people are still looking at the skin complexion and still thinking in their mind that brown is close to black and pale is close to white. Do you see how miseducated these ones are? These people who are in power? Fred Hinkle, you back again? Peace and love. We gotta understand the conditions of the mindset and how indoctrination and manipulation is being instilled in the minds and how it's being passed down from generation to generation, and it's called a generation curse. I will be honest to say this much, that a lot of people are being misguided based upon what they were taught from mother and father, how they was taught to them by their ancestors through the slaveholder, and how it all became into a manifest. I remember my grandmother used to say, rest in peace to my grandmoms, you know. She from the South, so she's like, is she colored? I was like, whoa. I never heard that before. I've heard of Negro, but I never heard of colored growing up. And you start hearing things, and it resonates with you when you get older. The more you learn the history and the whole Jim Crow thing, and how the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors who are indigenous, who are truly of Moorish descent, don't have the same equal opportunity as so-called whites who are European from Europe, it becomes a problem. And the Civil Rights Bill of 1864, I mean, come on now. I mean, all this stuff, it all makes sense. You could be a person who is of Europe, but you can still say this land belongs to you. But how can your people say that this is your land, but you're not the ones who drafted the Constitution to begin with? You're not the one who drafted the Peace and Friendship Treaty to say, oh, it belongs to Great Britain. You can't prove it. You have no factual documentation with representation. And this is why a lot of Europeans are being held captive by ICE subliminally, but they're not televising it though. And this is where information becomes a problem, because there's a whole bunch of Europeans who have good paying jobs, whether they're teachers or whatever, doctors, lawyers, whatever, and they're getting a message through an email saying you have to return back to Europe. Lie to you not. I saw it, I was like, wow. So it is true. I have to approach this in different ways on my live shows, explain it differently, where the brothers and sisters can understand what's really going on. We have to, as a group of people who are indigenous, who are Moorish American, Moorish American, who are indigenous to the land. That means that we cannot accept anything that has anything to do with hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and anything that harms that was given to us by the slaveholder. If you still consider yourself Negro, black, or colored, Afro-American, African-American, you're the one with the problem. Because you're still accepting of defeat by the European slaveholder. Because you're calling them white, which means that they're superior, and you're inferior. Which all around is they're inferior. The so-called white people are inferior to the so-called black people, who are really superior, and they're really indigenous Moorish people. George Washington said it best: "We're not to tell the children, the Moorish children, who they truly are, or who their forefathers were, that they're truly Negro, blacks, and colored folks." This is what George Washington said. These are his words. And he's a big-time Mason. I mean, take it from a guy who's a homosexual. You know what I'm saying? Take it from a man who created Lady Liberty out the likeness of himself, of Rome. And then, on top of that, dress this dude up in the toga with 7 spikes of crowns on their head. I mean, that statue don't belong to us. That belongs to Europe. As I say it once, as I say it again, family, you have to really do your homework and be due diligence in your studies. I don't care how many days of the week you work. You got to find some time to study. You got to find some time to do some research and do some homework. Because if you don't know any better of etymology in these words in the etymology dictionary, you're going to be lost in the sauce. You're going to think that black people came from Africa and they were brought here on slave ship by Europeans. Number one, Europeans did not know how to navigate a boat. That's number one. Number two, they knew nothing of this nation existing. They thought the earth was flat. They had no education. And these same racist Europeans got to go to go tell my people that they're not educated. Well, you're not educated either, calling yourself white, because you don't even have any connection to the Constitution, nor you have any connection to the Bill of Rights. Who are you? Because your Jesus is white, and your Jesus is better than any other person who exists? Who are you talking to sideways? Who are you coming at sideways with this fake image of Jesus? If you put up a false image with that crucifix, that means that image is false, and that crucifix is false. I don't care if you turn that crucifix upside down or upright. A crucifix that stands supposedly upright is a sword upside down. Whether you want to point it up or not, it's still upside down. So whether the crucifix is turned upright or not is still a demonic symbol, whether you know it or not. It's demonic. It's evil. You know why? Because it represents distress, burden. That's what happens when you cross somebody. How is it cross a holy symbol? Yeah, Fred. Oh my God. Fred Hingle, you are on it. A quote from Marcus Garvey Bay. A people without knowledge of their past history, origin, or their culture is like a tree without roots. Islam. Fred, if you still on the chat, how you been? It's been a while. Fred, how you been? It's been a while. You been all right? That's good. I'll be sending infinite prayers out to you and your family, brother, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you were here on my last live. Let me see. Fred, you said you has 19 children by 17 different baby mamas? Oh my God, I heard that before. That's funny. Wow. So Fred, you trying to practice the teachings in the Bible of Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27? You try to be fruitful and multiply? That's what it sounds like. Uh, yeah, I'm all as well, brother. You know what I'm saying? Just going through the trials and tribulations. You know what I mean? Just living. You know, just going through the trials and tribulations, learning lessons as I go, and bettering my condition and uplifting the fallen humanity. Somebody come at my people sideways, yeah, I'm all for standing up for the truth and nothing else. But I'm Fred, you can bear witness like me. Anybody who is in doubt of the truth and they deny the truth, they're the ones who are just the most wickedest person ever, right? Fred, you know, you good people too. Islam, I give you honors too, brother. Definitely. Yeah, Islam. But if I spread the truth amongst the people and call my people that they're not Negro, black, or colored, and they give and return them their nationality, what their true nationality is, and I call these so-called white people Europeans, and they're not white and they don't deserve the title white, why is it that every time someone spares the truth, it comes out as being slander or defamation of character, when all you're doing is putting Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast in their place? And they get mad and they want to call a hate crime or some type of slander or defamation of character. Slander and defamation of character is when someone speaks upon something that's not accurate. And that's the problem I have. That's the problem I have. Not only with people, but I have that problem with myself too. I can admit that. Because this is why my show is called Self versus Self. Because as I was saying, rewind it back, where I was talking about the higher self and lower self. The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harbingers of life that breeds love, mercy, justice, and right. That's my higher self. That's a perfected version of myself. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, and everything that harms. That's going to change and pass away. The higher self is infinite. It's going to continue to be forever. Fred, you know what, bro? I'm not Fred Hinkle. Bro, I'm going to tell you something, bro. You are on point. You said, I respect all religions. It is a separation of respect. It's what gets people all off and sideways. Well, yes, that's true, because they don't study. They listen to the person in the pulpit, the person who has the crucifix behind them, and kid you not, this is one of the worst things about being in a church, and this is one thing I witnessed. The preacher man is like mirroring me to a certain degree. He's saying there, I'm saying there, with a whole group of other people sitting right next to me. He's got a crucifix behind him. I have to bow my head, lower my head, and pray. So like I'm praying to him, but I'm praying to also that crucifix, which basically has no life. And the Bible teaches us in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not do idolatry. That's idolatry. I do not kneel to any cross, and I never will ever again. But as a Moorish American Muslim, I have to yield to the people their portion of understanding that seems ungood to themselves. But just because it seems ungood to themselves doesn't mean it's good. But Christianity or the Jewish religion is good for those who prefer it. I just don't prefer it. I just yield. That's just me. A mind that cannot listen is a blind mind. I got something for you on that one, though. A tired fighter yeah. Wait a minute, I got it. Wait a minute. How do I say it? An angry fighter is a tired fighter. A person who does not stand for anything falls for anything. Malcolm X, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Martin Luther King said it best. He said, "My people were exiled in their own nation." Whoa! And that's what got him. That's what got him killed. That's what got Dr. King killed. Dr. King and Malcolm were running on the same philosophy. After Dr. King found out, did his research. Marcus Messiah Garvey Bay. That Moore was on point. I love Brother Garvey Bay. You know what I mean? That's the forerunner of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I've heard of Marcus Garvey growing up, but I never heard of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I had to go to an African store one time as a so-called Negro, black and colored Latino guy. You know what I'm saying? Going through the Crenshaw Baldwin Hills Mall one day, flipping through the albums, looking through stuff and pictures and artifacts and all this other stuff. And I saw this picture called The Last Supper. And I saw W.B. Du Bois. I saw Nat Turner, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Miss Bethune, Elijah Muhammad. Then I saw in a corner towards the right of that painting by Cornell Barnes, which is The Last Supper, that's his version, and there's a picture of a brother with a turban on his head, his face is blemished, and it says his name is Noble Drew Ali. That's how I found out about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I saw Moorish Americans. I did, in my younger years. You know what I'm saying? In my early 20s. Then, fast forward, the same brother who I saw on the bus is the same member who's part of Moorish Science of America after all these years. This Moore's been a member for over 30 years in Moorish Science. Malcolm X was a great man, yeah. But the problem was with Malcolm and Elijah was that Elijah Muhammad was known as R. Poole Bay, Robert Poole. He changed his first name to Elijah Poole Bay. Took out the word Bay, and he was a sheik out of the Detroit Temple of Moorish Science of America, along with David Fordell, who changed his name to Wally D. Ford, Master for Muhammad. Fordell claimed to be Noble Drew Ali reincarnated, and then they started their own temple called the Allah Temple of Islam in 1930. So after Prophet Drew Ali passed away in 1929, was murdered, that's when Moorish Science came in. That's when the Nation of Islam, or should I say the Allah Temple of Islam, came out, and then changed it to the Nation of Islam in 1933. So Moorish Science has been around since 1913, which is the resurrection of the Moorish nation. This is a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about. And I've done my due diligence. I've done my homework. Brother Emeli Il was the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh of the Moorish Science of America. And he passed away later, and he handed down the Supreme Grand Sheikh to D. Bailey Il. D. Bailey Il never met the brother, but the brother's phenomenal. Our Supreme Grand Sheikh. Long before I joined the temple, I never knew who he was. I've seen him, but phenomenal brother. And of course, he had the charter down to Brother Kenyu Umar Bey out of Chicago, Cook County. Fred, you know, my thing is this. I'm very compassionate about my culture. I don't like being called a black man because, especially coming from a so-called Caucasian perspective, I look at that as slander and defamation of character. That's number one. Number two, I will never be Negro, black, or colored, Afro-American. There's no such thing as black history. Black history is dead history. Negro history means the same thing as black, which is dead history. Colored history is anything that's been painted, stained, varnished, or dyed. Afro-American, well, you already know that's a hairstyle. So how can where's the Afro Nation at? I never met them. I don't know what language they speak. So you have to understand, when you are compassionate about what you have a desire for and what your ancestors, who your ancestors are or were, without doubt or contradiction, that eliminates the slaveholder mentality of being called Negro, black, and colored, Afro-American, African-American. So since you're not aware of those things, and we Moorish people have a nationality, which is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. The red represents bloodline and bloodshed. The 5-pointed green star in the center is Solomon's seal, which represents love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And once you start understanding why that flag is over 10,000 years old, that debunks all European history. Call the facts what it is. I eat, live, and breathe Moorish science and Moorish culture. But see, it's not always about preaching. It's always about spreading the truth. Even as a so-called Negro, black, colored, Puerto Rican, whatever, Latino, Chicano, Hispanic, whatever. My thing is this: if I cannot take these words that are being oppressed by my people and taking it to a perspective of tracking its original origin back to the ancient one's ancestors, then how am I supposed to uplift my people based upon fraudulent information and slander and defamation of character based upon my brothers and sisters, to be able to debunk their way of thinking and have them have low vibration, lower expectations, and lower thinking of themselves? So how are you supposed to teach their children to uplift and love yourself if you do not have your true nationality and culture on lock? Nor you don't know the food of your ancestors. You don't know what the clothing of your ancestors. You don't know any of these things. So how are you going to have a desire for the truth if you don't know the truth yourself? That's the question. That's the question. If you're supposed to be the living proof of who you say you are, there's only two things in the world: there's truth and falsehood. So the person who's demonstrating falsehood is of the devil. So then we're going to call the Europeans, they're the devils. Why? Because their acts and thoughts, words and deeds and actions are demonic. There's nothing white about them. There are some Europeans who I bet who are just, and this is a small percentage, and they can't stand these other ones. They can't stand these other bigots. Trust me, I know, I've seen it. They'll sock them dead in their throat. As soon as they use that word, the end, nigger, they better ready to square up. That's real. Because they can't stand it. When it hurts them, it hurts the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors. And these are the same ones that are on our side. It's like saying, for instance, you know, we got the head person of who beheaded Socrates because of fraudulent information, saying, why are you exposing these Egyptian philosophies and teachings where it don't belong to you? It belongs to the Egyptians. This is what Heterus said. I give honor to Heterus. I give the utmost respect and then salute to Heterus, because I love it when people tell the truth, regardless of what skin complexion you are. That's how I roll. Truth and falsehood lies in everybody. It does not lie in skin complexion. It lies in the thinking. The sin lies within the wish. So you wish evil, you become evil. You become that wish. Therefore, you're serving two masters. You're playing both sides of the fence. You're gonna love one. You're gonna hate the other. Matthew 6:24. You can't serve two masters. You're gonna love one, hate the other. 2 Timothy verse 2, verse 15. Study to show thyself approved. John chapter 14, verse 15. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. What's the commandments? The dietary law. That's number one. That's the dietary law. Number two. What else is the Ten Commandments? Honor thy mother, thy father, that days may be long upon the earth land which the Lord thy God Allah have given thee. Thou shalt not commit fornication. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Every 10 commandment that exists, the European slaveholder and the powers that be of the Rothschild Rockefellers do not honor it. The rich honor it, but they tell people not to do it, but they're the ones who are doing it. So they're the ones who are the hypocrites. And they're the ones who are the hypocrites are the ones who are following them. And don't want to amend and change their ways, but they refuse to look at themselves in the mirror and make the change, say, oh, I messed up. I agree. You should be only judged only for your character, not a color. Brother Fred, bro, I'm going to be real with you. I got love for my people. I do. Even where I work at or when I work abroad, got love for my people. I do. Whether I meet them for the first time or press their flesh, see them, or whatever the case may be. I got love for my people. I got love for all my subscribers on YouTube for subscribing. Matter of fact, shout out to all my subscribers on YouTube. Shout out to all my non-subscribers on YouTube. Shout out to all my enemies who hate my guts, who hate me for who I am. Shout out to them too, and I pray that Allah serves them justice and they change their ways. And if not, they can make an appointment to come see me, and if they see me, they shall not live. That's real. Because see, I'm about peace. And I'm explaining to the common people and to the people who are listening, for all those agents who are listening, BOSCI, Secret Service, and all them ones. Yes. All of y'all corrupted people. All y'all devil worshiping people. Shout out to y'all too, because guess what? You're going to reap what you sow. I'm not going to be judged. I don't believe in being judged. Yes, you will be judged. You'll be judged by your characteristics, your actions, thoughts, words, and deeds. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali said it best. If your good deeds outweigh your bad deeds, by the time you leave this earth, you have nothing to worry about. Deeds. Where does the deeds come from? The thought. The thought comes with the action. The action comes in the emotion, based upon premeditated thinking. So a man thinketh, so he is. So what if your sister don't think highly of you no more? So what she think of you as a liar? Yeah, she's a liar too. So what your brother despises you and he don't think highly of you no more? He think of you as a liar. Yeah, he's a liar too. He lies. He don't tell the truth. So telling somebody that they are so-called black whatever, Guam or Hawaiian or whatever, that's telling the people who you are. That's deception. And under subliminal European hypnosis. And yet still have no idea of what the truth is. But the truth lies within the thought. Because you know why people can't rest at night? Because guess what? They're being haunted by their lower self. Their lower self cannot leave them. The lower self is in the thought. The thought is the cause of everything. I can't make it up. I would like to. I can rest at night. But because there's times I can't rest at night, there's a disturbance within the force. The force is with you always. When you start looking in the sky, you start seeing birds acting abnormally. Or you start seeing bees falling from the sky and being paralyzed because of these 5G towers. These microwave transmitted towers is what's destroying the ecosystem. Once you understand these conditions, now you understand that we're in the ending of time and fulfilling the prophecies, and we're at the end where Satan is getting his last. And all those people who are part of who are worshiping two masters, your preacher man, your first lady, your preacher man is an Arab, but he's also a preacher man in the church. He's also a Mason who worship Lucifer on the daily. He got all these nice clothes, nice house, nice cars, and all this stuff. But all of a sudden, you can't take that one shit with you when you pass away. And then when you inherit that when you are the major inheritor of those things that you have possessed, and you pass that down to your children, their generation's cursed. The generation's cursed. Just as well as being called Negro, black, and colored. Cursed. You're cursed for carrying those titles of Negro, black, and colored, because that's not who Allah named you. That's not how Allah made you. Isn't the devil made in the image and after the likeness of God Allah? No, because he is a shadow of our lower self and will pass away. That's our thinking. The Holy Quran, the Moorish Science of America, Circle 7. Divinely prepared by Prophet Noble Drew Ali to redeem man from a sinful and false state of humanity back to the highest planes of life with his Father, God Allah. Open the cover. Know thyself in Allah. You turn to chapter 1. Divine instruction from Holy Prophet, chapter 1. The creation and fall of man. Right at the second, third sentence says, finite mind cannot comprehend things as infinite. Oh yeah, Fred Hinkle, yeah, Islam, peace and love, brother, man. Yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts and time. I'll catch you on later. I have to go back to work. Yeah, brother, yeah. Be safe out there, man. It's crazy. Have a good day of working and be Moorish. Don't be nothing less. Peace and love, brother. Islam. Yeah, shout out to my brother Fred Hinkle and shout out to his children and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Islam. Shout out to honors to his mother and father. I'm gonna tell you something about friendship, family. If you got a genuine friend and you love your friend, and let's just say their mother and father's no longer with us, right? Or grandmother, grandfather. That's two sets of grandmothers and grandfathers, right? And that person is genuine and got a good heart. You never met their mother and father, but guess what? You tell your best friend, I love you, man. You're my brother. I love you. Right? Do you know that love that you interjecting into that brother is the same thing as saying that you admire and love and have the utmost respect for his or her mother and father and their ancestors for raising that one? And give her honors where honors is due. And this is where we say in our lessons, when man honors man, man honors Allah. When man harms man harms Allah. Because Allah and man are one. My father and I are one, Jesus said. That's what he said. Peace and blessings be upon him. Salatu alayhi salam. So, family, is getting close to the time, and I gotta go. So we have to be, number one, articulate in what we speak to our people. We can't be sitting here just degrading and disrespecting them and doing all these things that harm. We can't do that. Sometimes we just not need to dwell on someone else's business because we're making someone else's problems our problems. So now we're considered coveting. We're taking upon a burden and stress that don't belong to us. What is coveting? It means taking. Well, I'm going to make your problem my problem if my problem has nothing to do with you. Yes, when I suffer, you suffer, but sometimes you just need to leave well enough alone. That's what it's about. But Islam family, I got to go. Peace and love. Close out with the more Shemaiah prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. With my prophet, through Ali. Amen. Brother man! Yeah, man. It's a beautiful night. We got the palm trees. Minus the pina colada version, no alcohol. Everything's going to be alright. I want